Hello class, we're about to start the chapter 6 review. It's equations, inequalities, and function practice questions. And this is on page 384, and it goes from page 384 to 387. Okay, it says directions. You may use your calculator. Number 1, which of the following expressions is equal to 6 minus 4 times the parenthesis x plus 3? So we see here with number 1, we have 6 minus 4 parentheses x plus 3. Oh, that's supposed to be 3. Okay, what we would do here, we look inside this parentheses. There are no like terms. There's no exponents, but we do have multiplication. So we would do the distributive property here. We would take negative 4 times x and a negative 4 times 3. Because remember, that was supposed to be 3. So this would give us 6, negative 4 times x would give us a negative 4x, and minus 4 times 3 would give us a minus 12. Now we'll put the negative 4x first, and then 6 minus 12 would give us minus 6. So negative 4x minus 6 would be D. So your answer here is D, negative 4x minus 6. All right, now we move on to problem number 2. It says 3 increased by the product of 4 and a number is equal to the same number decreased by 6. Okay, so 3 increased by the product of 4 and a number, so it'd be 4x plus 3. It says is equal to the same number decreased by 6. So the same number decreased by 6 would be x minus 6, because x is the number. Now they want us to solve for x, because they said, what is the number? So we will subtract x on both sides. We add 3x plus 3 is equal to negative 6. We will subtract 3 on both sides, and 3x equals negative 9. Divide each side by 3, and x is negative 3. And x is negative 3 is A. Okay, problem number 3. It says, what is the equation of a line with the slope of negative 4 that passes through the point 1, 2? So now for number 3, we'll go back and use the slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. Now we're giving the slope as negative 4, and we're also given one point, which is 1, 2. So now all we have to do is go and substitute here. So y is 2, the slope is negative 4, and x is 1. So we add 2 is equal to negative 4 times 1 is negative 4 plus b. We add 4 on both sides, and 6 is equal to b. Now we have what b is equal to, so now we can substitute. So we will have y is equal to the slope is negative 4, x, and then b is 6. So this would be our equation here, and that is actually b. So that is how we would complete problem number 3. Now we move on to problem number 4. Okay, now with problem number 4, it says the ordered pair negative 2, negative 1 is a solution to which of the following equations? So what we would have to do here, we're supposed to substitute negative 2 and negative 1 and see if it makes the equation equal. So instead of going through all of them, I'm just going to go right to the answer, which is C. But I'm going to show you how C is the answer. So we will have, so we'll do C. We have 4x minus y equals negative 7. We'll put in negative 2 for x, and then y is negative 1. So 4 times negative 2 is negative 8, minus a negative 1 will give us positive 1. Negative 8 plus 1 is negative 7, and negative 7 equals negative 7. So our final answer here would be C. So C works. Okay, number 5. It says for a 2-week period, Jane earned $150 less then twice Tom's salary. Together, Jane and Tom earned $1,380. How much did Tom earn? Okay, so now, first of all, we have to set up our variable here. Now, since we're dealing with earnings, we can use T. So we'll use T would be Tom's earnings. And then we would do 2T minus 150 would be Jan's earnings. So we have T is Tom earnings, and then 2T minus 150 is Jan's earnings. Now they're telling us that both of their earnings together would be $1,380. So now we're going to take this and write this as an equation. So together we would take this 2T minus 150 plus T is equal to 1,380. Now we can combine like terms. 2T plus T is 3T minus 150 is equal to 1,380. So now, let me move this over here. We had 3T minus 150 equals 1,380. Now we would add 150 on both sides. So we had 3T is equal to 0, 3, carry our 1, 1,530. We divide these side by 3, and T is equal to, so we'll take 3 into 1530. That'll be 510. Now the question is, we were asked, how much did Tom earn? Now we go back here to where we wrote down that T is Tom's earnings. So since we solved for T, that would give us $510 for T, which would be C. So that would be it for problem number 5. Okay, now we move on to problem 6 and 7. It says questions 6 and 7 refer to the following graph. Okay, now if the graph of the equation is y equals negative x minus 5 were drawn on the grid, which of the points would be on the line? Okay, so with that being said, we would have to try some of those. So what we would do, let's go to the actual answer. The answer is D. So we would look at the points of D. So this is problem number 6. Okay, now if we look here at D, remember we start at the origin and we move to the left 1, 2, 3 places. So that means your x would be negative 3. Now your y, we went down 1, 2. Your y would be negative 2. So we're saying negative 3, negative 2 should work in this equation. Y equals negative x minus 5. So we'll substitute in negative 2 for y and then negative 3 for x. So it'll be negative 2 is equal to the opposite of negative 3 is 3 minus 5. So negative 2 equals negative 2. So again, your answer is D. So we just proved that D is the point that the line will go through. Now, number 7. It says, if a line were drawn through points B and C, what would be the slope of the line? So first of all, we need to find the ordered pair for, what was that, B and C. So we go here, we go back to the origin. For B, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. We went 5 to the right, so our x here would be 5. And then we have to go 1, 2, 3, 4 up. So our y would be 4. So that took care of the first ordered pair. Now we try for C. We go to the origin. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4 places to the left. So that's negative 4. Oh, and then we will go up 1. So this should be negative 4, comma 1. So I made a little error, but this is negative 4, 1. Okay, so now first thing we should do is find the slope. Now we know the slope is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So remember, this is telling us, we know that this is X and Y, this is X and Y. But in the first ordered pair, that is our ones. The second ordered pair is our twos. So here, y sub 2 is 1. Minus y sub 1 is 4. All over x sub 2 is negative 4. Minus x sub 1 is 5. 1 minus 4 is negative 3. And negative 4 minus 5 is negative 9. We know a negative divided by a negative is positive. And 3 and 9, they have 3 in common, so that'll give us 1/3. So our slope here is 1/3. Now, we're not done with this problem yet. We have our slope, but we need at least one more point in order to do what we did in number 6, in order to find, they just asked us what was the slope. So we found the slope as being positive 1/3. So we're actually done, and that would be C. So that would be number 7 is C, because they just wanted the slope. So now number 8. It says Samuel is paid $350 per month plus a 10% commission on total sales for the month. If he needs to earn at least $2,100 per month, which of the following expressions represents the total sales for the month Samuel needs to achieve? Okay, first of all, if you notice here, they're using inequalities. Okay, now, with them using inequalities, you got to think about that. They said that Samuel needs at least $2,100. Okay, so that means he needs $2,100 or more. So then that would be greater than or equal to. That is the symbol. I'm not saying that that would be the final answer, but it's greater than or equal to is the symbol we're going to be working with initially. So let's take a look here. Say he's paid $350 a month plus 10% on commission. So that'd be 0.10, and we'll make that X. And we want his total sales. Right now, we'll just put it as equal to 2,100. Now, this is what it would be if he just needed 2,100. Now we're going to rewrite this in the inequality. So it's 350 plus 0.10x is greater than or equal to $2,100. So now we're going to solve for x. You subtract 350 on both sides. So this would be 0.10x is greater than or equal to, this would be 1,750. Now we'll divide each side by 0.10. And we will have on this side, we will have x is greater than or equal to. Now I'm going to pull up this calculator here. Now remember, you could use your calculator, the calculator that you're supposed to use on the test, but I'm only using this calculator because it's a basic problem. So all I would do is take 1,750 divided by 0.10 and press enter. So it'll be x is greater than or equal to $17,500. Now they did use s, but you can replace that with x. So then that'll be a. So your answer here would be a. All right, so now that took care of problems 1 through 8. Now we go to the next page, starting with problem number 9. Now with problem number 9, it states, for its checking plus account, a bank charges $3.95 per month plus 10 cents for each check written after the first 10 checks written that month. The function to find the total fee is F is equal to $3.95 plus 0.10 times n minus 10, where n is the number of checks written. Greg writes 24 checks in March. how much will he pay in fees for the month? Okay, so remember one key thing here is we know it's $395, and they said an N is the number of checks written. So what we would do is we would just substitute this into this equation here. Now let me pull up this calculator. I'm not going to do anything on this calculator that you cannot do on your calculator. So we have this function here. So we'll type in 3.95 plus 0.10, and then you'll hit the open parenthesis key, and then N is 24. So we'll put in 24, and remember, whatever we substitute in, we put in a parenthesis, minus 10, and then close the parenthesis, and press enter. So the answer is $5.35, which would be B. So number 9 is B. Okay, now, well, just so that everybody would see that it's B, I'm just marking this here that it's 535 and it's the letter B is your answer. Okay, now, number 10, the sum of 4 consecutive odd numbers is 104. What is the larger number? Okay, listen. Let's look at odd numbers. We know odd numbers are 1, 3, 5, 7. So basically, this is how we would do it. The first odd number would be x. The second odd number would be x plus 2 because you go by 2's here. And then the next odd number would be x plus 4. And then the final odd number would be x plus 6. And that's supposed to all equal 104. Now this is the first, this is the second, this is the third, this is the fourth value. Okay, so now we can bound like terms. We have 4 x's, so that'll give us 4x. And then we add the numbers. 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 6 is 12. So we have 4x plus 12 is equal to 104. We'll subtract 12 on both sides. And 4x is equal to 92. We divide each side by 4, and x is equal to 23. So remember, 23, this is the lowest number. They want the highest number, which would be the x plus 6. So we would have to take x plus 6, and we'll substitute in 23 for x. 23 plus 6 is 29. So your answer here is D. Okay, number 11. Which value for x makes the inequality x greater than 400 true? Okay, now, this is problem 11. Okay, problem 11. So we need a value x is greater than 400. Now, you could test all of these. But I would say this, just looking at it myself, I would have thought it might be between A or C. Just looking at it. But let's take a look here in your calculator. Now remember, I've showed you all how to do this in your calculator as well. So what we would do, we'll press 7, and then on your calculator you would need this key here. This is the same key that's on your calculator for exponent. So it'd be 7 to the third power, press enter. So 342, 343, that wouldn't work. So now we could try 4 to the fourth power. I'm just going to try all of them. That gives 256. That doesn't work. Now we do 3 to the sixth power. That gives us 729. So far 3 to the sixth power works. Now we'll try the last 6 to the, what's that, third power? So our answer here would be C. It'll be C, 3 to the sixth power. That would be the one that would make this correct. So it'd be C, the 3 to the sixth power. Okay, now we go here to problem number 12. Problem number 12 starts off. It says 4 less than the product of a number x and 5 is equal to 8 more than the sum of 2 and the product of 3 and the number. Which of these equations could be used to find the value of x? Okay, now for problem number 12, I don't think it's too bad, but they want us to write which of these equations would be true. So it tells us it's 4 less than the product of a number x and 5. So it'd be 5x minus 4. That's 4 less than 5 times than the product of a number and 5. Now it says it's equal to, so we'll put equal to 8 more than the sum of 2 and the product of 3 and the number. Okay, so we have the sum of, is 8 more than the sum of 2 and a product of 3 and a number. So we have the product of 3 and a number plus 2 and then plus 8. Now, because it's 8 more than 3 times the product, well, the product of 3 and a number and 2 more than that. So this is what we have here. Now, we look at the selections we have. If you notice, we have 5x minus 4 in B and D. So we could get rid of A and C. Now on the other side, if you notice, it start off with 8 plus 2 plus 3x. So we could rewrite this to put the 8 first. So 8 plus 2 plus 3x. And that would give us actually B would be the answer. Now, let's go up here to problem 13. Oh, I guess it's below here is problem 13. It says, what is the slope of a line that passes through the points 2, 4, and 4, 6? Okay, so we have 2, 4, we have 4, 6. So we do the slope formula, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Now, we know that y sub 2 is the y in the second order pair, and y sub 1 is the y in the first order pair. And then x sub 2 is the x in the second order pair, and x sub 1 is the 2 in the first order pair. So 6 minus 4 is 2, 4 minus 2 is 2, so your slope is positive 1, which would be B. Okay, now we go to 14. What is the next number in the sequence? Okay, so now, when we look here at this sequence, what we have here, we look at 14, we have 1, 7, 14, 22. Now, if we were looking at addition, 1 plus 6 is 7, but 7 plus 6 is 14. So adding 6 does not work. Okay, so now what we could do is this here. We could say, if we do 1, let me see, if we do 1 times 7 is 7, and 7 times 7 is 14, so that's not working. So what it looks like, if we do 1 plus 6, that'll give us 7, and then we do 7 plus 7 is 14, then 8 plus 14 is 22. So what's happening here, we start out with plus 6, then we go to plus 7, then plus 8. So then, by reason, the next one should be plus 9. But they asked us, what is the next number in the sequence? So we'll do 22 plus 9, which is 31. So your answer here would be B. Now problem 15. It says, what is the y-intercept of the line with the slope of 2 that passes through the point 1, 2? So we'll do slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. We have the slope is 2, and we have the ordered pair 1, 2. So now we substitute because we're trying to find the y-intercept. And remember, the y-intercept is what b is equal to. So we'll put in 2 for y, the slope is 2, and then x is 1. So we add 2 is equal to 2 plus b, subtract 2 on both sides, and 0 is equal to b. So our y-intercept is 0, so it'll be c. Now for 16, it says the graphs of the equations y equals x plus 3 and y equals negative 2x minus 3 are drawn on the coordinate grid. In the coordinate plane below, darken the circles corresponding to the point at which the two lines intersect. Now, the two lines are going to intersect at negative 2, 1. Now, I don't know why it says here that the graphs were drawn, because I don't see it. I don't see where the graphs are drawn. But you could draw the graphs yourself by taking some points. So let me show you how you would set that up really quick. So we have y equals x plus 3, and then we have y is equal to negative 2x minus 3. We'll do our x, y table. So then here, we could do negative 1, 0, 1, and then I'll do negative 1, 0, 1. I know that I told you all the answer was negative 2, 1, but we'll figure that out in just a second. Okay, so we substitute this in. Now you could put this in your calculator, but this is negative 1 plus 3 is 2. And then we put in 0, 0 plus 3 is 3, and 1 plus 3 is 4. That'll take care of this. Now we come here. We put in negative 1 for x. Negative 2 times negative 1 is 2, and 2 minus 3 is negative 1. We put in 0 for x. Negative 2 times 0 is 0, minus 3 is a negative 3. And then if we put in 1 for 2 for x, negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, minus 3 is negative 5. So now we have these points here. And what you're supposed to do, if you put them right here on this this graph here, if you do you start at the origin, which is 0, 0. You will go negative 1, and then you will go up 2. So that'll be 1 point here. And then the next thing you would do, you will go to 0, and then you will go 3. Okay, and last but not least, you will go back to the origin. You will go to 1, then you will go to 4. Now, once you darken those ends, you will connect those points. And then you will graph the others. Now, the reason why I'm not graphing this, and if you still have a question with problem 16, you can come to class, I'll answer your question. But once you graph these two, the point that they intersect in would be negative 2 and positive 1. So again, the answer would be negative 2, positive 1. So that would be your answer. That's where both of them intersect. And you can test it. If you put in negative 2 for x here, plus 3 will give you 1. So I put negative 2, 1. Then here, you could put in negative 2. You put in negative 2 here. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. They have the same point, so that is their intersection point. Okay, so this ends the first part of the Chapter 6 review, and I will upload this to YouTube. Have a wonderful day.